Limata. He will be starting soon. Oh, story time with Mr. Limata, where all your dreams come true. Oh, he brings to life your favorite stories with a great big smile. You won't leave lonely, won't you start all the reading? I just can't wait to be hearing story time with Mr. Limata. He will be starting soon. Oh, story time with Mr. Limata, where all your dreams come true. Oh, he brings to life your favorite stories with a great big smile. You won't leave lonely, won't you start all the reading? I just can't wait to be hearing. Good morning, and welcome to Storytime. Thank you so much for joining in today. Glad we're here together. Happy Friday, another day of Storytime, another great story to enjoy together, and yes, another day to be in community together and get to enjoy and get lost in the world of Henry today. Thank you so much for being here with us. I'm glad that you could join us. I'm glad you could make the time to be here on Storytime, whether you're with us right now live or indeed joining us later on for the recordings at your convenience at storytimewithmrlimata.com. Thank you so much for being here. Absolutely appreciate you. A friend for Henry, coming back to Storytime. This time, less than a year since we had it here. Before it took us a longer while, but Henry is back. And this one is brought to us by Jen C. Bailey and illustrations by MIKA Song. And of course, read with permission of the publishers, Chronicle Books of San Francisco. A big thank you to them, as always, for allowing us to share so many wonderful books here on Storytime. A friend for Henry coming right up. So get ready, get cozy, get comfortable, and yes, get to enjoy this lovely story time that is coming up. Thank you indeed for being here, and wherever you are today, I hope that you are doing well. Whatever you're up to, I hope that story time is the perfect addition to that. Thank you so much for joining us here on Storytime today. Out here in Oakland, very windy today. Was yesterday, and it's very windy. And this morning you could feel that wind against the windows and just against all the leaves outside as well too. So if you're going out, just be aware of that. That is very windy out there. I don't know about the road conditions yet, but might want to check that as well. Thank you so much for being here with us today. Absolutely appreciate you. And if you remember too, MIKA Song and Jen Bailey did bring us as well a follow-up to Henry, a friend for Henry, and this one is called Henry Like Always. We have featured this one here on Storytime, and this one is a beginner chapter book, and it has 5 chapters in it. So if you get an opportunity, look for it at your local library and get to enjoy more adventures with Henry. But today we go back to the first adventure, a friend for Henry, coming right up. Thank you so much for being here with us. And remember too, we're getting closer to March 26th, and we know that Marietta Apollonia will be here with us enjoying we'll be enjoying the wonderful story from her, the brand new book, Warmbird and the Family Tree, and she's author illustrated this one, her debut author illustration. I'm excited, cannot wait to have her here on Storytime, and yes, cannot wait to catch up with everything Marietta Apollonia. Thank you so much for being here with us today on Storytime. Keep that date in mind, March 26th. Marietta will be here with her brand new book. Thank you indeed for joining us here on Storytime. I hope that you are feeling well this morning. If it is evening or later in the day for you, I hope that it has been a good day still. Thank you for being here with us today on Storytime. Absolutely appreciate you. And if you're having class today, I hope it is not boring. I hope it is exciting. I hope it is a good class. And whatever you're up to, I hope that too is exciting. And we do have Henry to take us on the journey this morning. Thank you so much for joining us here today on Storytime. And one thing I wanted to mention too, a big congratulations to the Kansas City Current, the women's soccer team out there, and the ownership. They have, I think it is one of the first, if not the first, stadium built for a women's soccer team. And so I think that's some progress that has happened. And, you know, it should have happened already. We should have many, many more women's teams playing in their own stadiums. But steps, baby steps, I guess. And so we have this one, and I just thought we should mention it here on Storytime, especially that this is Women's History Month as well. We continue to celebrate, and just that news felt good, and I hope that that continues to develop. More things like that keep happening for the growth of the women's sports, whether it's soccer or whatever else that is that people may participate in, may play. So yeah, kudos to you, Kansas City Karens, Karen, and congratulations indeed on the new facilities. Thank you so much for joining us here on Storytime. And remember too, wherever you are in your city, look out for women's sports and see if you can get tickets and go and support, because your support makes a difference, right? So please do try and support women's sports out there as well. Thank you so much for joining us here on Storytime. Glad we're here together, and I will catch you on the other side of this very short message when we are back with more story time. Thank you indeed for being here with us today. Absolutely appreciate you.
Hi, my name's Christine Mitchell-Adams. I'm a mama and an artist, and I believe that books are a great way for children to have access to the arts on an everyday basis, which is why I believe that programs like Storytime with Mr. Limata are so important.
Welcome back. Thank you, Christy Mitchell-Adams out there in Vermont. Thank you for joining us. And yes, please do follow Christy Mitchell-Adams on socials, Instagram, Facebook, and yeah, everywhere else. And on the website, of course, at christymitchelladams.com, and get to see what Chrissy is up to. And congratulations on all the exhibits that you've had at the Burlington Library and so many other places, right? So thank you so much for joining us here on Storytime. And yeah, glad we're here together. And the arts, yes, we hope that every child will have access to the arts. So important. And if only education was important and people funded it right? Thank you so much for being here with us. Keep bugging those leaders out there. Let them know what is important. And yeah, I hope that indeed every child has access to all the arts, all the different things. And like we've mentioned before, stop calling them enrichment. That is core curriculum. Every child needs to be exposed to music, to art, to everything. So yeah, may we have a world soon that values education, values our kids, and actually provides them with what is needed, because there's so much money that is spent in such useless, vain things that could go to education. But yeah, I hope that that changes, and we'll continue to push. Thank you so much for being here with us on Storytime. A friend for Henry. Here we go. This one written by Jen C. Bailey, illustrations by MIKA Song, and of course read with permission of the publishers Chronicle Books of San Francisco. Thank you to the Chronicle team, indeed, Ariel Richardson, and of course Victoria Rock, Melissa Manlove, and so many others in that wonderful Chronicle team. Wishing you the very best, and thank you for all this amazing magic that you keep giving us out here. Thank you indeed. Here we go. A Friend for Henry by Jen C. Bailey, illustrated by MIKA Song. Or should I read that in a more poetic voice? A Friend for Henry by Jen C. Bailey, illustrated by MIKA Song. Big thank you indeed. Read with permission of the publishers Chronicle Books of San Francisco. In classroom 6, second left down the hall, Henry was looking for a friend. What's your classroom number? 19? In classroom 6, second left down the hall, Henry was looking for a friend. It couldn't be Jilly, who circled her fishbowl. She's quiet, thought Henry, but she can't play on the swings. It couldn't be Miss Magoon, who knew about hugs. She shares, thought Henry, but she has to. Could it be someone else in classroom 6? What do you think? Could Henry find a friend in classroom 6? Could it be Jilly, who circled her fishbowl? She's quiet, thought Henry, but she can't play on the swings. Hmm, that might be a problem. It couldn't be Mrs. Magoon, who knew about hugs. She shares, Henry thought, but she has to. Could it be someone else in classroom 6? In art class, Vivian shared Henry's double easel. Vivian was a kaleidoscope, a tangle of colors. She had ribbons and clackety shoes. She knew every Pawnee song. Her fingernails were painted like rainbows. When I get paint on my fingers, Henry said, I wash it off. Vivian waved her hands too close to Henry's face. My mommy painted them. Aren't they pretty? Painting on people is against the rules, said Henry. Did your mommy get in trouble? No. Henry lowered his voice. Did you get angry? Why should I? But Vivian was very angry later. He ruined them. He ruined them. She likes rainbows, Henry explained, and he thought a friend would say thank you. No. Reading time was Henry's favorite. My friend will like it too. It was Henry's turn to put out the carpet squares. He tucked the blue ones next to the brown ones, green in the very middle. All the edges met and the corners fit perfectly. Reading time, shouted Samuel. My favorite! Samuel was a thunderstorm, booming and crashing. He was kind of scary if you didn't have your blanket. He could pick up crayons with his toes and do proper somersaults. Oh my goodness. Henry stepped in front of Samuel. Somersaults are hard. Samuel dodged past. I want a green one. I want a green one, he said. Lots of energy, Samuel. Wait, Henry's thought felt tight. They are perfect. Mine's a magic carpet from a genie's lamp, said Samuel. It's not. Henry's face was hot. It's from Ragworld. There is the sticker. See? Up, up, and away, magic carpet. Booming and crashing, Henry's fingers curled closed. A friend listens. Yeah, a friend listens indeed. Henry, Mrs. Magoon knelt in front of him. Sit with me, please. Henry did, but he couldn't see the pictures, and his carpet square was brown. During snack time, Jaden took 3 crackers instead of 2. At recess, Riley dug up worms and let them loose, let them use the swings. What a day Henry's having, right? Our free time, Henry's hope for a friend felt small. He watched the sunlight play along Jilly's scales. He could watch Jilly for a long time. Katie watched too. Katie smelled like strawberry milk. She read storybooks all by herself. She slid down the big slide, sometimes backwards. The big slide is too big, said Henry. The number of times at recess they have to stop elementary school kids from sliding backwards. Katie smelled like strawberry milk. She read storybooks all by herself. She slid down the big slide, sometimes backwards. The big slide's too big, said Henry. Jilly floated past. She is shimmery, said Katie. But she doesn't blink, said Henry. What does she do? She burps pebbles, Henry thought, and breathes underwater and turns sunshine into colors. Henry hunched into his sweatshirt. Fish things. Katie bent to have a closer look. I like her. Henry tried not to blink. Want to play blocks? Sure. So cool to think of all the things that Henry thinks about here. Hasn't said them out loud, but that fish get to do it. Sometimes it's so easy to think of a fish as just like, yeah, doing fish things, right? But she bursts bubbles, Henry thought, and breathes underwater and turns sunshine into colors. Do you want to play blocks? Sure. I don't like triangles, said Henry. I don't like broccoli, said Katie. Together they built a tower. It had rectangles, cylinders, and squares, but no triangles or broccoli. It's perfect, said Henry. Thank you, said Katie. Yeah, that's perfect, said Henry. Thank you, said Katie. The next day, they played on the swings, and Katie went down the big slide. Henry waited at the bottom for his friend. Aw. The next day, they played on the swings, and Katie went down the big slide. Henry waited at the bottom for his friend. And that is the end of our story. Oh, I hope you enjoyed that one. Thank you so much for being here with us today on Storytime. Absolutely appreciate you. And yeah, we'll be right back after this very short break. Thank you so much for joining us here today on Storytime.
This is Anika Mrose-Reese, author of The Teacher's Pet, Watch Out for Wolf, Love Sophia on the Moon, the Anna Banana chapter book series, and Hide and Don't Seek and other very scary stories. And you are watching Storytime with Mr. Limata.
Thank you so much for joining us. Thank you, Anika Mrose-Reese. Absolutely appreciate you. And yes, Hide and Don't Seek. If you're looking for some scary stories, that is the one to check out today. Thank you so much for being here with us on Storytime. Absolutely appreciate the times that we get to spend together. And a great way to start the day for me. I hope that you enjoy it too. And I hope that is becoming a great way for you to start the day out there. Or indeed, it is already set routine for you to join us here on Storytime. Appreciate you. And remember too that if you miss us live, you can always catch Storytime recordings at storytimewithmrlimata.com. Thank you so much for joining us here on Storytime. Marietta Apollonia will be here with us on Storytime on March 26th. Make a date. Join us. If you have any questions for Marietta, please get them prepped. Send them to me, or indeed you can share them on that day. Thank you so much for being here with us on Storytime. Absolutely appreciate it. Wombert and the Family Tree, author illustrated by Marietta Apollonia, out there in Harvard, Massachusetts. Thank you for joining us here on Storytime. Thank you indeed for being here. Whatever you're up to today, happy Friday. We hope that you have a wonderful wonderful rest of the day. This has been Storytime for today. This has been Storytime for this week. This has been Storytime on this wonderful Friday morning. Thank you indeed for joining us, and I hope that you continue to join us on many story times to come. And remember too that you can always catch Storytime at storytimewithmrlimata.com on Facebook, YouTube, and of course you can find us on Instagram as well. Thank you indeed for joining us today. And once more, congratulations to the Kansas City Current on their brand new stadium, brand new women's stadium facility for their women's soccer team. Absolutely love it. And may many more of those happen. Thank you indeed for joining us here on Storytime. Whatever you're up to this weekend, I hope that it is good. I hope you get to enjoy it. And yeah, we look forward to seeing you here on Storytime again next week on Monday. Yes, inshallah, we're back full and ready with a wonderful lineup for you to enjoy. Yes, many great worlds to dive into and get lost into. And of course, to be here together in community, to continue to learn together, to continue to encourage each other and remind each other of what's important out there. Yes, and we hope that your days go well. You like Henry, find friends, and of course, find friends that listen. Thank you so much for joining us here on Storytime. And yes, may we continue to build worlds that are more inclusive. Yes, worlds where every child can thrive. Every child gets to live their lives, their best lives, just the way they are. Thank you so much for being here with us. Absolutely appreciate you. This has been Storytime today. Much love from me, and I will see you again on Monday with more Storytime. Bye-bye.
Storytime with Mr. Limata. He will be starting soon. Oh, Storytime with Mr. Limata, where all your dreams come true. Oh, he brings to life your favorite stories with a great big smile. You won't leave lonely, won't you start all the reading? I just can't wait to be hearing Storytime with Mr. Limata. He will be starting soon. Oh, Storytime with Mr. Limata, where all your dreams come true. Oh, he brings to life your favorite stories with a great big smile. You won't leave lonely, won't you start all the reading? I just can't wait to be hearing Storytime. Storytime with Mr. Limata. He will be starting soon. Oh, Storytime with Mr. Limata, where all your dreams come true. Oh, he brings to life your favorite stories with a great big smile. You won't live lonely, won't you start all the reading? We just can't wait to be hearing. Brings to life your favorite stories with a great big smile. You won't live lonely, won't you start all the reading? We just can't wait to be hearing